New accusations against the teenager suspected of shooting 4 people to death inside Apalachee High School. 14-year-old Colt Gray's father, Colt Gray, spent the day in a Barrow County courtroom. That's where investigators submitted evidence revealing more about the suspect's motive and his father's alleged involvement. Atlanta News First reporter Patrick Quinn takes us inside that hearing.
In Barrow County, prosecutors called 3 investigators to the stand who outlined a notebook they say alleged shooter Colt Gray left behind in a classroom at Apalachee High School. The notebook allegedly included his step-by-step plan, where he wrote down a goal of killing more than 25 people. Here's Special Agent Lucas Beyer of the GBI reading a portion of that notebook.
So I'll set my bag down, open it, put on a vest, take a moment or two to stay calm and really think about if I want to do this.
Secondly, we learned more about Colt's mental health history. Investigators said Colin was aware Colt had battled suicidal ideations and the cutting of his wrists. Colt was scheduled to see a professional therapist off-site the weekend before the shooting, but that appointment was skipped. Thirdly, prosecutors alleged Colin knew of Colt's fascination with past school shootings, including an alleged shrine that Colt had created in his bedroom, glorifying specifically the gunman in the Parkland school shooting.
There's approximately 15 pictures. They were mounted with thumbtacks to the wall directly behind his computer desk.
Fourth, while there were damning allegations about Colt's mom and her relationship with both Colin and Colt, we learned Colt's mom and grandmother multiple times tried to alert healthcare and school leaders about Colt. Marcy Gray, Colt's mom, told investigators she tried to get Colin to secure the guns at his house.
She did. She had indicated to both of them that she wanted the weapons locked away so they were not accessible.
The state alleged Colin bought not just the gun Colt used in the shooting, but also a sight, a vest, and ammunition for Colt. And moments before shots were fired, Colt texted his dad apologizing.
At 9:42 a.m., Colt texted Colin again. He stated, "I'm sorry. It's not your fault. No, I love you and Jenny and Coley. You're not to blame for any of it."
Patrick Quinn, Atlanta News First.